All right, so today we're diving deep into Insulet Corporation.
Ticker symbol PODD.
Yay, PODD.
They're making some serious waves in the diabetes management space, and they've got this product,
The Omnipod.
the Omnipod system,
Right.
and we're going to break down like everything about it.
We're going to look at their whole business model, their leadership team,
Their financial,
how the market views them,
all of that.
everything,
Yeah,
to figure out if Insulet is a good potential investment opportunity or not.
exactly. And don't worry if it sounds like a lot. We got a ton of articles and reports and analysis.
Oh, that good stuff.
So you can check out the show notes for links to all of that if you want to take a deeper dive on your own time.
Perfect.
Yeah.
All right, so let's kick things off by understanding exactly what Insulet does.
Chapter 1, Decoding Insulet's DNA.
Love it.
So at their core, Insulet is all about simplifying life for people with diabetes.
Okay.
And their flagship product, this Omnipod system, it's a tubeless wearable insulin pump.
Oh, cool.
So it totally eliminates the need for those traditional injections.
So it's like one of those discrete little patches I've seen, but how does it actually work?
It's way more sophisticated than just a patch. It's a smart device.
Okay.
It communicates wirelessly with a separate controller, so users can actually adjust their insulin delivery based on their blood sugar levels, meals activity.
Wow, so it really is personalized.
Really personalized, yeah. This level of control is a total game changer for diabetes management.
That's amazing. It's
Yeah.
like having a personal insulin assistant right there on your body.
Exactly. And that's a big part of why they've been so successful. They're not just selling a device, they're offering a whole solution. Training support. They've even got this vibrant online community for users.
It makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Building that ecosystem around the product adds a ton of value and helps create a loyal customer base.
Totally.
But is this business model sustainable in the long run?
That's the million-dollar question. That's what we're going to try to figure out.
Okay.
We'll be looking at their financials, their market position, and their growth strategy to see if they've got what it takes to stay ahead of the game.
Okay, so they've got this game-changing product.
Potentially game-changing.
All right, and a seemingly solid business model, at least on the surface.
Yeah.
Let's move on to Chapter 2 and get to know the people running the show.
Are they led by visionaries or villains?
Ooh, I like that one.
Yeah, so evaluating a company's leadership is crucial, right?
Ooh.
We need to look at their track record, how they make decisions, especially in tough times.
Like, how did they handle the COVID pandemic?
Exactly, are they capable of steering the ship in the right direction? That's what we want to know.
For sure. And it's not just about competence. It's about integrity.
Too.
Absolutely. Are they acting ethically? Are they being transparent with everybody?
Yeah, we're going to look into all of that. Their commitment to ethical practices, corporate governance, how they communicate with investors and the public.
The whole 9 yards.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I know that the current CEO, Jen Hollingshead,
Yeah.
he's been at the helm since 2022. So what's his track record been like so far?
Well, Hollingshead's got a really strong background in the medical device industry.
Okay.
He took over from Shacey Petrovic, who was really instrumental in leading Insulet through a period of huge growth and profitability.
Gotcha.
So far, it looks like Hollingshead is building on that foundation successfully.
Good.
Under his leadership, they've expanded their market reach, they've launched new products, and they've continued to deliver those strong financial results.
It sounds like a pretty solid leadership trajectory.
So far, so good.
But, they say that the real test of leadership is how a company handles a crisis.
Right.
So how did Insulet navigate the whole COVID-19 pandemic?
I mean, they face the same challenges as everyone else. Supply chain disruptions, shifts in demand.
Keeping employees safe.
Exactly. But they seem to have weathered the storm pretty effectively.
Okay.
They implemented remote work policies, they kept production going, and they even kept innovating. They released new products.
Wow.
And they even launched initiatives to support healthcare providers and communities that were hit hard by the pandemic.
That's great. So it sounds like they adapted and responded to this massive crisis and were able to keep their business on track.
Yeah.
That's a good sign. But let's not forget, we're here to figure out if Insulet is a good investment or not.
Right.
So let's move on to Chapter 3, Dollars and Cents, and take a close look at their financial health.
All right, let's do it.
So we're talking hard numbers here, the kind of stuff that makes investors either really excited or super nervous.
Exactly. We're going to use all the data from our sources, analyst reports, financial statements, market analysis, all that good stuff, to paint a clear picture of their financial standing.
All right, so let's start with market cap. As of February 2025, Insulet's market cap is sitting at $19.9 billion.
Whoa.
That's pretty significant, especially for the medical device sector.
It definitely is. It's a sign that investors see a lot of value in Insulet. But to really understand their financial health, we got to dig a little deeper.
Okay.
Let's look at their revenue growth.
Okay, in 2024, they generated $2.1 billion in revenue. That's a 22.1% increase from the previous year. So that's pretty impressive, especially for a company that's already making billions of dollars.
It is impressive. It suggests their products are in high demand and they're successfully expanding their market.
Yeah, but revenue is only part of the story.
It is.
We need to see how much profit they're actually making.
Right, we got to look at the profit margins, and Insulet is boasting some pretty healthy numbers there.
Their gross profit margin is 69.8%.
Nice.
Meaning they keep almost 70 cents of every dollar of revenue after accounting for the cost of goods sold.
Yeah, and their operating margin, which factors in other operating expenses, is 14.9%.
Yeah.
And their net profit margin, which is the bottom line, is 20.19%.
Wow, those are all really solid figures.
They are.
So they're not just growing, they're growing profitably.
Exactly.
But what about debt? Are they taking on too much risk to fuel this growth?
That's a good question. Their debt-to-equity ratio is 1.29, which means they have more debt than equity. It's not crazy high, but it's definitely something to keep an eye on. We want to see if they can manage that debt effectively as they continue to grow.
All right, so we've covered a lot of ground in this first part of our deep dive.
Yeah.
We've explored Insulet's business model, we've evaluated their leadership, and we've dissected their financials. It's clear that they've got a lot going for them, but like any investment, there are also potential risks to consider.
Of course.
We're going to dig into those when we come back, and we'll also explore how the market is feeling about Insulet, so stay tuned.
So welcome back to our deep dive into Insulet Corporation. Let's pick up where we left off, examining their financial health.
Okay.
We saw that they have strong revenue growth and healthy profit margins. But another really important metric to look at is free cash flow.
Right, free cash flow. That's the cash a company is left over after paying for its operating expenses and capital expenditures.
Exactly. It's the money they have to reinvest in growth, pay dividends, or even buy back some stock.
So it's a pretty good indicator of their financial flexibility.
It is. And in 2024, Insulet generated $305.4 million in free cash flow.
Okay, so not bad.
Not bad at all. It tells us they've got the financial firepower to keep innovating and expanding.
That's a good sign for investors who are looking for long-term growth potential.
Absolutely. Now, speaking of investors, let's shift gears and take the market's temperature.
Chapter 4.
Yeah, what's the general sentiment around Insulet? Are analysts and investors feeling bullish or bearish?
Yeah, are they excited about Insulet or are they running for the hills?
Well, overall, the market seems pretty optimistic about Insulet.
Okay.
Analysts have given the stock a consensus rating of moderate buy, and technical indicators, which look at things like price trends and trading volume, are also flashing buy signals.
So the data suggests that the market is generally positive on Insulet.
Yeah, but it's more than just the numbers. Analysts are excited about Insulet's future growth prospects.
What do they see for the future?
They see a large and expanding market for tubeless insulin pumps, and they believe that Insulet is in a prime position to really capitalize on this trend. They're also impressed with Insulet's innovation pipeline and their commitment to developing next-generation technologies.
So strong financials, a growing market commitment to innovation, it sounds like. They're ticking all the boxes.
They are, but have there been any recent news or events that have impacted the stock?
That's a good question.
Yeah.
I know their recent earnings report showed that they beat revenue expectations for the fourth quarter of 2024.
That's right. That strong performance definitely boosted investor confidence and reinforced the market's positive sentiment.
So they're exceeding expectations, which is always a good thing to see.
It is, and they also had a significant legal victory recently. They successfully defended their intellectual property against EOFloco.
Okay.
In a U.S. district court case. This win really solidified their position as a leader in the tubeless insulin pump market and removed a potential threat from a competitor.
That's huge. Protecting their intellectual property is crucial, especially in such a competitive market.
It is. Now, let's delve into Chapter 5 and examine Insulet's ownership structure.
Who owns the show?
Right. Who are the key players and how much power do they hold?
Yeah. Understanding a company's ownership structure can be really helpful. It can give us insights into their governance, potential conflicts of interest, and their overall stability.
Absolutely. So when we look at Insulet's ownership, we see that institutions hold a significant portion of the stock, actually exceeding 100% ownership.
Wow, over 100%. So this high level of institutional ownership, that's generally seen as a positive sign, right?
It usually is. It indicates that professional investors like mutual funds, hedge funds, pension funds, They all have confidence in Insulet's long-term prospects.
Yeah, it's like they're putting their money where their mouth is.
Exactly. They've got teams of analysts who do tons of research before making investment decisions, so their confidence in Insulet is a good sign for individual investors.
For sure. But what about insider holdings? Are the company's executives and board members buying or selling stock?
That's an interesting point. Insider holdings in Insulet are actually pretty low, sitting at around 0.47%. And recent insider transactions show a trend of selling, not buying.
So shouldn't the people running the company be putting their money where their mouth is?
Well, it's not always a red flag. Insiders might sell stock for a variety of reasons, like diversifying their portfolios or personal financial needs.
Right.
Doesn't necessarily mean they've lost faith in the company, but it's definitely something to keep in mind and maybe investigate further.
Good point. We don't want to jump to conclusions, but it's always worth being aware of those insider trading patterns.
Absolutely. Now let's move on to Chapter 6, Navigating the Minefield, and conduct a SWOT analysis.
Okay, a SWOT analysis. This is where we look at Insulet's strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats.
Exactly. It helps us identify the factors that could impact their future success, both positive and negative.
Okay, so let's start with the positives. What are Insulet's key strengths?
Well, they're the clear market leader in tubeless insulin pump technology.
Right. The Omnipod is a game changer for people with diabetes.
It's given them a significant competitive advantage.
And they have a strong brand reputation for innovation.
They do. They've built a loyal customer base by focusing on user experience and providing great customer support.
And their financials are really strong. We saw that.
Right. We talked about their impressive revenue growth,
Yeah.
healthy profit margins, strong free cash flow.
It gives them the resources to invest in research and development, expand into new markets, and weather any economic storms.
For sure, those are all significant strengths, but every company has weaknesses too, and Insulet is no exception.
So what are some potential vulnerabilities that we should be aware of?
One concern is their heavy dependence on the Omnipod system.
It is their flagship product.
Yeah, and it accounts for a big chunk of their revenue.
So what happens if something happens to that product line, like increased competition or some new technology that makes it obsolete?
Or major product recall.
Right. Any of those things could have a huge impact on their business.
They need to continue to innovate and diversify their product offerings to lessen that risk.
Okay, what other weaknesses are there?
Well, they face high research and development costs.
It's expensive to stay ahead of the curve.
It is, and they also have to navigate that complex world of insurance reimbursement.
Oh yeah, getting their products covered by insurance plans is so important for them.
It's crucial for market penetration, but it can be a really challenging and time-consuming process.
So they have a lot going for them. But there are some weaknesses in their business model that investors need to be aware of.
Right, but let's not forget about the opportunities.
Okay, what are some potential growth areas for Insulet?
Well, the type 2 diabetes market is huge.
That's a much bigger market than type 1, right?
It is, and Insulet has already started making inroads with the FDA clearance of Omnipod 5 for type 2 diabetes.
That's great. They're expanding their reach into a new and potentially very profitable market.
Exactly. What other opportunities do they have?
Well, they could grow internationally.
They could. They've already established a presence in several countries, but there's still a lot of untapped potential in global markets.
So expanding geographically, that's a smart way to diversify their revenue streams and reduce their dependence on any single market.
Exactly. What else?
What about the increasing adoption of automated insulin delivery systems?
The closed-loop systems.
Right. Those systems use technology to automatically monitor blood sugar levels and adjust insulin delivery.
Yeah, it further simplifies diabetes management.
Okay, so it sounds like they're well positioned to benefit from this growing trend towards automated diabetes care.
They are, but let's not forget about the threats.
Right. What are some potential roadblocks that could derail Insulet's success story?
Competition is always a major threat. New entrants are popping up in the tubeless insulin pump market, and existing competitors are constantly innovating, trying to gain market share.
It's a tough market.
It is, and regulatory changes are always a wild card.
What do you mean?
I mean, shifts in reimbursement policies or new regulations could impact their profitability and market access.
Okay, and we can't forget about those GLP-1 drugs.
Right, we touched on those earlier.
They're gaining popularity for diabetes management, and they could potentially limit Insulet's total addressable market in the future.
It's true. While GLP-1 drugs are mainly used for type 2 diabetes, they could eventually become a viable option for some people with type 1 diabetes as well.
So that's something Insulet will need to watch carefully.
Yeah, and adapt to as the diabetes treatment landscape changes.
So it sounds like they're facing a mix of opportunities and potential pitfalls.
It's a mixed bag.
So for the moment of truth, Chapter 7, the final verdict. To invest or not to invest?
Right. Big question.
Based on everything we've talked about, is Insulet a smart bet?
Well, Insulet definitely presents a compelling investment opportunity in the medical technology sector.
Okay.
Their dominance in the tubeless insulin pump market, their innovative product portfolio, strong financial performance, and a customer-centric approach all make them a strong contender.
Okay.
However, investors need to be aware of the risks, like their dependence on the Omnipod potential competition and that evolving landscape of diabetes treatment.
So it sounds like a promising opportunity, but not without its risks.
Right, and of course this isn't financial advice. We're just two podcast hosts who love analyzing companies.
Exactly. We're simply giving you the information you need to make your own informed decisions.
Right.
Okay, so we've talked a lot about Insulet and all the things that make them a potential investment opportunity.
Let us know in the comments which stocks you'd like us to deep dive into next.
We love hearing your suggestions.
We do.
And remember, this deep dive was for informational purposes only and does not constitute financial advice.
Right.
Always remember to do your own research before making any investment decisions.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive. We hope you found it informative and insightful. And remember, the journey of investing is all about continuous learning and exploration.
Until next time, happy investing.